India has secured a huge diplomatic victory over Pakistan. In a major blow to Islamabad, the World Bank president Ajay Banga categorically ruled out any rumors that the institution would step in to compel India to restart the Indus Water Treaty. As increased global interest builds on the future of the treaty signed in 1960, Banga spelled it out clearly. We, or the World Bank, have no role to play beyond a facilitator, unquote. His statement on platform X, and quoted by the Press Information Bureau, went on to add, quote, "There's a lot of hype in the media as to how the World Bank is going to intervene and solve this issue, but it's all rubbish," unquote. His candid comment comes just days after India kept the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, a first in history since its signing. This historic move by the Modi government was an immediate fallout of the April 22nd Pahalgam attack, leading India to reassess its diplomatic and strategic approach to its troublesome western neighbor. In retaliation for India's move to put on hold the Indus Water Treaty, Pakistan is now gearing up for a diplomatic and legal counterattack. Its Minister of State for Law and Justice, Akil Malik, recently laid down a four-pronged strategy to internationalize the issue and seek relief through international legal forums or platforms. Now, first in line was going to be the World Bank, the initial broker of the 1960 treaty, but this option is not going to work for Pakistan as the World Bank President, Ajay Banga, has ruled out any interference whatsoever and will never compel India to restart the Indus Water Treaty. Next, it could bring a case before the Permanent Court of Arbitration and possibly move to the International Court of Justice in The Hague. Finally, Pakistan is also considering bringing the matter before the United Nations Security Council, or the UNSC. Malik stated that Islamabad need not depend on any one course of action. It can follow several courses at once. But how powerful are these threats under law? And more crucially, are they standing on any solid legal footing? The IWT of 1960 has been a beacon of cooperation in the midst of war. The 6 rivers of the Indus system are shared between the two neighbors by this treaty. India receives the eastern rivers, Sutlej, Beas and Ravi, and Pakistan receives the western rivers, which include Indus, Chenab and Jhelum. Even though India is the higher riparian state, it only gets about 30% of the overall flow from the water system, while Pakistan has a bountiful 70% share. For years, New Delhi respected this unequal deal even in the midst of war and terror. But today, India contends that Pakistan has infringed the spirit of the treaty by persistently abetting state-backed terror, particularly in Kashmir. And so, Indian patience has reached its end. But can the move be stalled by Pakistan through any legal means? Let's take a look. First, International Court of Justice. The ICJ only pursues cases when both nations agree to its jurisdiction. India, however, withdrew in 2019, particularly for matters related to Commonwealth countries or national security. Given that water sharing comes under strategic issues, particularly in the wake of the attacks such as in Pahalgam, the ICJ is out of the question. Secondly, Permanent Court of Arbitration. While the PCA has already heard cases involving water in the past, it also needs consent from both the nations. Without India's consent to arbitration, the PCA cannot step in, and Pakistan has little bargaining power here as well. United Nations Security Council. Taking the matter to the UNSC might sound melodramatic, but unless the situation is a serious threat to international peace, it won't find any traction. Experts believe that India's legal position is robust, and short of a major escalation, this platform too is not likely to yield any results for Pakistan. India's move to suspend the Indus Water Treaty can appear aggressive, but it is legally valid. As per Article 62 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, a nation has the right to withdraw from a treaty if the underlying conditions that warranted the initial agreement no longer exist on the ground. This treaty was founded on goodwill, but that goodwill is gone. According to P.K. Saxena, a former Indian commissioner for the Indus Waters Forum, India has endured decades of provocation and even pushed for renegotiation on multiple occasions even before the Pahalgam attack. Pakistan's refusal to negotiate as recently as 2023 has now forced India to go ahead. Adding to this, the changing dynamics of population growth, energy demand, and need for hydropower in a transition to climate landscape and clean energy, and India's argument becomes even stronger. In fact, India's current actions are not just reactive, but part of a long-standing effort to modernize the treaty. With Islamabad repeatedly skipping meetings and failing to engage in good faith, New Delhi's suspension now looks less like retaliation and more like an overdue reform. In short, although Pakistan might try to stir up global sympathy and legal attention, the fact is quite simple. None of the global forums it's thinking about can guarantee results, particularly without India's cooperation. So at present, Pakistan's legal threats are less about substance and all about appearances. But what do you believe? Can terror and water flow together? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.